classes and the bourgeoisie, as they used to be called. As Mason says, it's not. It's yes, certainly it's when the peasants are revolting that you might get a revolt, but when the lawyers start to revolt, that's when you really have a revolt. Because these are the people with the accumulated smarts and intellectual capital as well as financial capital that can move and that can build institutions and that can create messages. So we should be clever about the whole idea that maintaining our position within a single market or maintaining continuity with the EU is a competitive advantage in terms of contemporary information capitalism. It clearly is. But I think there's a way in which we can use that, and I think there's a way in which it can be harnessed, and I think there's a way in which you can separate out the mobility of smart capital to places where it will be more effective and under its own interests. You can separate that out from what I think is quite an aspirational story about Scotland, which is a Scotland that invents, that has centres of clusters of smartness and excellence and engineering excellence, whether it's metal engineering or bioengineering, and that we are part of the future. I think we can deploy smart modern capital to the ends of a futuristic progressive Scotland. And I'm somewhat distinct from my good pals and friends on the Scottish left with this. I think we can use it to our advantage.
I hope so. But one of the things that caused problems with the campaign the other time is, there's this sort of, you talked about wish trees earlier, but there's the ideas of, do we need positivity or negativity with all this? I mean, I think there has to be a certain level of positivity about, what's going to happen with an independent Scotland. That's obviously a positive story. That's why we want to do this. It needs to be backed up with plans and projects and figures and so on. And people are doing that work just now, like the Commons Space. However, I do think there is a negative case to be made. Look at the shit that Britain is in, and it's only going to get worse. That can't not be part of the campaign.
Well, I mean, I've thought quite a lot about this, Michael, and I think one of the things that will fuel us through the next couple of years is that we all do what we think we have the resources to do, the personal resources to do as well as the objective resources. So the phrase I love to use all the time is, be the Scotland you wish to see. And I think that's a very powerful and subtle phrase. So if the Scotland that you wish to see is a Scotland largely based on critique of powers that oppress us, and believe me, that's exactly the way that we can describe, I totally accept that's how we can describe a Westminster that's whose cultures and petty squabbles have brought us into this system-shaking phenomenon event called Brexit. I think we can be critical Scotland, negative, I guess is the way you could put it, relentlessly. And I mean, that's a default response from people I deeply admire, like Nicola Sturgeon, who will say that this is a quote-unquote democratic outrage that we are not allowed, or we're not being allowed to determine the time of our own referendum. So anger and rage is absolutely legitimate in certain circumstances. But I genuinely think that we're in a moment of considerable citizens' exhaustion with politics as it is. I sort of mentioned that sort of nihilism and cynicism, I think, that sits underneath both the Trump and the Brexit votes. And I think it's incredibly important to say we want Scottish independence because we want to do this brilliant thing with it. And we want to benchmark ourselves against the best. And we want to show that there's a path forward out of a very confusing and disorienting world. We want to show that we can provide solutions to the balance between having a national coherent society and culture and being welcome and open to the immigrants and the talents and the refugees of the world. We want to be able to say that we have a balanced new solution to the question of how you have growth in an economy while also recognising that the planet has limits in terms of carbon and in terms of global warming and in terms of resource use. We have great answers to the question of how you educate kids in a smart way, for a century that's going to have exponential challenges in terms of their capacity to grapple with it. That's the positive side. The creative, I would prefer to say, innovative case of the case for independence. That's the one I would want to focus on because that's the one I'm wired for. But I appreciate other people will be wired for a critical negative case. Wings Over Scotland drives people on the positive creative side nuts because he does what he does, but you can't deny that he's incredibly effective at what he does in pointing out the hypocrisies of British media and the British state. So I wouldn't want him to stop doing what he's doing. But we need to create space to talk about the inspirational case for independence.
Yeah. I'll just run this one by you and then we'll finish up. But
yeah,
I think a formative moment in any young person's life is the moment when you realise that, you know, adults and your supposed elders and betters don't have any more idea what's going on than you do. And that comes, you know, when you're in your teens usually, and you speak to your father and say he doesn't know, or you speak to your mother, or, I don't know, the politician, the priest, or you meet an MP for the first time and you think he's an idiot. You know, these moments come to everyone. Do you think it's going to be a formative moment for Scotland, where in the last campaign it was all about, you know, the broad shoulders of Britain and pooling and sharing and better together, and the fact that it's been such a dog's dinner for the last couple of years, the people who had any kind of lingering doubts that, you know, the Westminster and the Parliament that knows how, and it's had all that experience and tradition, do you think any kind of lingering doubts that they're sort of incompetents and crooks, or at least a large number of them are, do you think those lingering doubts have been removed in the way that with a young person it can happen?
I think enough of them will be removed for us to get a solid majority. I want us to walk away from Westminster towards the world, towards Europe, towards Scandinavia in a positive, confident manner, and I think that's the best fuel in the tank for me.
All right, and just because you've said on a positive manner, I have to run it by you. What did you think about some of the vitriol that came out after the Sturgeon's announcement the other day? We had a few off with their head, but actually off with their head in the Telegraph, and then traitor and stuff, because I think we have to be careful how we respond to this.
Totally.
Responding aggressively against that kind of thing could be an own goal, but at the same time, I think certain times it is done specifically to provoke, and that people have to be smart about it.
I think our opponents think they're pretty illiterate about primal emotions, and they're getting that from the marketing advisors, and they're getting that from the political science advisors. I think they know that they can play social media like Captain Nemo's giant organ, you know, the big church organ that he plays in his thing under the sea. You know, I think they know that they can play popular sentiment, or they think they can play popular sentiment as if it was a big keyboard. And I think that we have to know that, and I think that we have to maintain dignity at all times, because they know exactly what they're doing, and they have such a preponderance of mainstream media power still in terms of access to top-down media, electronic broadcast or press, it's almost exactly what we should know that they're trying to do when they try to troll for Scottish, angry Scottish response. And I think we have to it almost has to be, I keep mentioning Gandhi at the moment, but it's almost, there has to be that, and Martin Luther King, but I think there has to be that level of non-violent, and I mean also verbal violent, obviously physically non-violent, but actually non-verbally violent self-discipline, because we're in a system, they think they know how to play us within the system, and we have to be even more disciplined. It has to be even less eggs than there was the last time, which was only one.
Farage got hit with more the last time he went out in England.
Indeed, it's true. So, but I mean, we win on the basis of literally, you know, being the Scotland we wish to see. I think the rewards will be incredible. And if we don't, and if that's not enough, then I don't want to speculate on what happens if we go for this again and we don't win it. I think it will probably be, if that happens, I think we'll probably be in a situation in Scotland where we have a kind of geographical, urban, rural, small town, big town polarisation that we see opening up in the US, and we see opening up actually through Brexit. And I think that will just accelerate. I think we'll be in a very strange world where people will hang on to their progressive city-states, you know,
yeah.
and between that, you know, people will just, you know, wander about and being angry. So, you know, I can. There's not as if there's no future for living a decent life in Scotland, you know, after a second no vote. But it probably won't be at a national level. It'll probably be at a different level entirely. So to that extent, you know, we have a sweet spot with Scottish independence where we can connect a bottom-up, vibrant civic culture with a smart, top-down, sophisticated state. I don't think that sweet spot will last forever, and I think we have one shot at it again. And I'm not just talking about in Scottish context. I think in the general European context, I think we can show that collective progress can be made with the next Scottish vote, and I hope we make it. I hope we take it.
Seize the day and all that. So
all that.
All right. Thanks very much, Pat. That's been great.
All right. Thank you, Michael.
So there you go. That was Pat. And given this is the 150th/250th episode, I'd just like to say thanks to all the people who listened, to all the people who've donated. and to all the people who've come on as guests, some more than once, and helped to make the show as popular as it is. That said, that's enough for this time, and I should have another one, possibly 2 shows for you next week as well. So, speak to you then.
Brown boots in the corner by the iron bar. Spray on mustard is the greatest thing. Sure is the greatest thing since the light. Since the light. Marks in the corner of the room. The junkyard fool with eyes of gloom. I asked in time again.